did Murray say?
I found some humor in that. I can't remember.
This is what he said. What he said was, honey, I have a hard time listening to the end of a sentence that starts with, Murray, I don't know what you did with the thermostat. And what was wonderful was there was no shame. And yet he brought me back to my senses, and he brought me back to my heart. And I said, honey, can I have a do-over? And he said,
yes.
Because there's no desire for either of us to make the other person wrong. We're just not interested in making the other person wrong. So then after he said, I can have a do-over, I said, what?
Then I said, call into the show. Into the Funny Miners now. And you can do so by calling the number 303-872-0503. And you know what I said after that?
Oh, no, this is what I said. So when I asked for a do-over, I said, honey, darling, my knight in shining armor. Do you hear I went into my 1-900 voice? I'm having trouble with the thermostat, darling. Could you come over here and help me with it?
I'm your man. I can help. I was much more receptive to that kind of information.
So this is a perfect example of taking misbehavior. That's not my best self. And I'm going, Mary, and he didn't use that as an opportunity to attack me or shame me or make me wrong. He came with his sense of humor, and he invited me to shift, and because I am always interested in getting out of that behavior, I shifted, and we turned what could have been a real icky interaction that could have lasted for days, with all that cortisol junk in your blood system. We turned it into a funny.
We turned it into oxytocin. We bonded.
That's right.
It was really good.
That's right. And so now it's part of our language. So, honey, I don't know what you did to the thermostat. We can use that because that story is so much part of our story now that it reminds us of just about how to shift out of an uncomfortable one into an uncomfortable situation into one that's working.
It reminds me too how low our threshold is for tone.
Yeah.
I remember being at the store, at the airport, and we'll overhear somebody, a couple speaking to each other about the bags, about the tickets, about something, and tone! Tone. It can be brutal. It can be so...
And you can tell that that's just the norm. That giving tone is the norm. And Murray gets the credit for this one because... one of our very first reactions was another similar thing where I can't see and I'm having trouble with the stereo or something, and I made some sort of comment. And he was walking downstairs, and he came back up, and he turned and he said, "Are you giving me tone?" And I was so grateful. I was so grateful because I don't want to be given tone. That is sloppy behavior. That is leaking. That is disrespectful. It's everything I don't want to be. But he told me in such a light, easy way that was non-shaming so I could shift out of it. So, tone.
Yes.
We're going to challenge you at the end of this show to take on something, take on a habit that you're wanting to shift. And if you're guilty of giving tone, raise your hand. So, what do you think? Should we go to Real Tool? Real Tool?
Right. We could. Yeah.
Okay.
The love yourself well.
Love yourself well. You want to talk about that first?
Okay. Well, I'm sometimes quick to say no to things because, as I confessed, being the introverted one, let's say after a day coming back from work, I'm likely to have the first thing out of my mouth is to say no. I don't want it. Not quite so petulantly. But I might say no, and because I'm trying to protect myself, and this is an act of self-care, and so self-love and taking care of myself is about knowing when I need space to do something, And sometimes I still do. I decline invitations, social invitations, because I need to just take care of myself.
And that's back to rule 1.
That is. And it's self-love. And it's also the part of me that knows I'm the kind of guy that doesn't have to have tone. I'm worthy enough, and I want to live the kind of life with the partner that my beloved, with my lovely woman, that will not give me tone. That's the kind of woman I conjured up. And that's a part of self-love, deciding ahead of time the kind of love you want to practice in your life. That is also self-care. So that's a good thing.
Yes. And, there's that love yourself well, and understanding that that's part of our relationship.